Hi everyone, my name is Jeff. Thanks for watching the JB Arts YouTube channel. Today we're doing some dental alginate. It's going to be lots of fun. I have two hands here to help me out. Alright, so enjoy the video. Alright everyone, welcome to Dental Alginate 101. Today we're going to be mixing up some alginate and doing some cast of two lovely hands. So give us a quick wave everyone. Yay! Yay, there we go. Well, three hands, okay, we'll be doing two hands today. And now to get the really cool shape that we want, we're going to start off with a bit of a form underneath. So I'm going to use this hat that was left behind. If you recognize it after watching this video, come on in and get it. It's probably yours. Left over from March break, I think. And then we're going to take a tablecloth and put it over top. You could use a garbage bag or anything else that you want. We lay it over the area and maybe onto our laps a little bit so we don't make too big of a mess here. Not something I normally do, but you know, I'm willing to try it this time. So our guests are going to put their hand in the position that we want them to be in, or what they want to be in. Alright, can we move back just a bit? There we go folks, now you're in the center of the frame. Alright, now with dental alginate, the best part about it is that you can work with warm water. Sometimes you work with cold water and you get all the little goosebumps everywhere. So alginate is actually a seaweed byproduct. I like to use clear containers so I can see if it's mixed thoroughly or not. So when you buy the kit, we're going to give you 1 cup of alginate and plaster and things like that per hand, and that should be enough to make up whatever you need. So right now, if you are 2 hands, you need 2 kits for it. So right now I have the alginate and I'm pouring it into my bucket. 2 hands, 2 baggies. Now it's a pretty easy mix. So right now we have 1 cup water needing to be added. Right now I only have a half cup here. So I'm going to pour in 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. And now we have to mix it thoroughly. We want to make sure that we get right to the bottom. Feels like oatmeal. There's a little bit of dust coming out, don't worry, non-toxic. Now here, being a clear container, I can take a look at the bottom and see if there's anywhere that looks powdery or unmixed. Now you really only have a couple of minutes to get this stuff stirred up. So you really want to be careful of that. Now the position of the hand, we want to be careful that there's a lot of places that we can sort of get into. No, you can just relax your hand, but keep your hand sort of pressed together a bit to close those gaps up. Now when we're putting this on, we want to make sure that we smear it into the hand. Ew! And it's going to ooze and drip a little bit. That's okay. You have your partner's other hands. I'm doing this for them. But your friends or the people you're doing this with, you can do this easily if both of you work together to put on the alginate and pull it back up like I'm doing. This is where you want to keep still. Now you only need a coverage. You don't have to put it on really thick. There you go. For the next moment or so, I'll just keep pulling it back up and laying it on top. It does cure quite quickly, so you don't have to do this for hours on end. It's already starting to thicken up. It's starting to slow. When it starts to thicken up, you'll notice right away, and then you should stop. Where you see skin, you need to make sure that's covered up. Scoop the last bit out of our container. Sometimes I wait a moment before I do the pour so it doesn't drizzle all over everywhere, but then sometimes it doesn't get into every little crack and crevice and you end up with some air pockets or funny bumps in your finished sculpture. Overall, this one's turning out quite well. Great, we're going to get the plaster part on the way in just a minute. You can see now it's turned to sort of like a jelly. It happens within a couple of moments. Here we can just wipe off our hands. It comes off quite easily, and the more it dries, the better it comes off. But right now we're not too worried about that. We want to get the next step done quite quickly, and that's where we take the plaster gauze bandages that come in the kit. There we go. We want to make sure that this is nice and strong. You really need one of these to do your hand. We can take out the little plastic piece, just slide that out, and now we're going to take this entire piece and dunk it in. We give it a couple of squishes. There we go. I lost the start. There we go. And we open this up and start wrapping the bandages around anything that's pink. Try not to get it onto any skin. Alright. You want to go over everywhere at least twice, even 3 times. Use up the entire roll of bandages. There we go. You can see how it's all wet at once. And now once that's done, we take it and we smooth it out all around the hands, making a nice strong mold when it's done. We can push it into any of the little gaps. We really want this to take the form around the hands. There you go. You really have to smooth this stuff out to make sure it's nice and strong. There we go. Now we just need to wait a few more minutes for that to dry. I think I will do another pack on it just to make sure. You're going to get 2 with your kit, so you can either choose to use it as a sculpture thing later, or you can do a really strong one now. These are a means to an end. You're not keeping this part of the sculpture. Alright, so let me show you. Again, I'm going to dunk this in the bucket of water, give it 2 or 3 squishes, get most of the water out, and then start putting the bandages all the way around. And again, not trying to put it on skin. If you get it on a little bit, as long as you get it off before it cures up, we are good. Perfect. So we're done for now. We're just going to let that dry. See you back in a minute. Alright, so that was about 6 or 7 minutes to cure. We can feel that it's hot. When it starts to get hot rather than cold and clammy, it's ready to come out. So at the moment we're going to lift our hands up, straight up from here. There we go. Alright, and we want to try and pull our hands out like a glove. If we flip this over a little bit, you can see how the hand is. So that means we're going to try and take the adult hand out first, and we wiggle. Wiggle, 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 and pull our hand out gently. And there we go. We've got a beautiful cast. Alright, beautiful cast of the hand. You can see all the little finger spots in there. Great. The next step will be mixing some plaster. Alright, there we go. We're ready to mix our plaster. Now, we didn't really need to wait too long for anything like that. I just wanted to clean up the mold, make sure there's no extra little dust pieces in it. Next, I take like a cloth or a rag or an old t-shirt and wrap it around the base so it doesn't move around. Now, do your best to make sure the alginate stays in the plaster base. So the plaster base keeps the mold from flopping around and making a huge mess. Now we've got our plaster part next. It should be a mix of 1 cup plaster to a ½ cup water. There we go. And stir it up. We do want a little bit thicker mix. Oh, that needs more water. Here we go. When we're mixing, we want to make sure that we get right to the bottom. And make sure it has a nice mix everywhere. We want it a little bit wetter than that. So when I hold up my hand and I see it's kind of gooey, what I needed to do is to pour into the mold just a little bit. There we go. And now pour it into the finger holes. I can pick up the mold, shake it around, make sure it gets into every little crack and crevice, being careful the plasters don't bond together. There we go. Just like that, and now I'm going to fill it up even more. So, I give it a little shake. Highly recommend you give it a good shake. That settles all of the plaster. Little crevices between the fingers. You'll see little air pockets come to the surface. That's perfect. Right now I've got my cloth helping to hold back where the wrists are, and that's perfect. The wrists are always the complicated part. It wants to spill out there. You can always make your batch a little bit thicker after sort of your first pour. In this case, it just worked out nicely. Alright, in about 15-20 minutes that'll be set and ready to pull out. Alright everyone, this is the moment where we get to peel off the plaster and alginate and our rag. So we just yank that off. Now the plaster feels really hot, and that's what you want. If it's at the cold and clammy stage, it can be broken too easily. So right now I'm just peeling away some of the alginate. And then the plaster bandages, we start to peel them off. Now all of this was a means to an end. What that means is it's the inside part that we want. It doesn't matter anything about the outside stuff. Now we really have to be careful about making sure we don't break off any fingers. They can just be glued back together, but still you would rather it come off as one big piece. So you try and pull everything away from the fingers. Try not to leverage against the fingers when you're pulling parts off. And just keep working around your sculpture until you find all the bits that you need off. If you can get the plaster bandages off first, everything else will come off nicely around it. So you just find little edges to work off of and keep peeling it back. Oh, there it goes. So this should come off pretty easily now, especially if I keep peeling away some of the alginate. It's just held on by one little lock somewhere. There we go. The rest should just come off easily. Look at that. We lost a little bit of the thumb. That means the plaster didn't get into that part of the mold. That's why it looks so smooth. Other than that, perfect cast. Look at the details in that. Every little fingerprint, every little crease and every little knuckle. It's all there. Oh, we lost a little bit of the tips of the finger on that one. Again, those are just areas that the plaster didn't quite get into in the cast. Every one of these you do, you get a bit better and better, but look at how beautiful that is. Alright, you can sand it, paint it, do whatever you want with it from there. Beautiful cast that you could have for a lifetime. Thanks for watching.